Started. Okay. Do any of you have? Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So, regarding yesterday's sessions, do any of you have any questions or doubts from yesterday's session? Oh, everybody's clear with all the concepts discussed yesterday. Were you able to try some of the reports that we discussed yesterday? Yes. Okay. Okay. Some more records to the app. Okay. So, welcome to day two of the program, and today we are going to see several topics related to low code. Okay. Yesterday we saw how to set up the basic application, how to create an application from scratch, and what are the basic components of an application. And today we are going to see the basics of low code. Okay. So, can anyone take a guess or try to define what low code is? Have any of you read about it since yesterday? Low code. Yes, any of you is. What is low code? Any of you have any of you read about it? No. So low code is like using minimal programming to develop applications that you require to run your business operations or your objectives. Okay. Say for example, the traditional way of developing applications, you will have to develop the front end, you will have to develop the back end, you have to integrate them, you have to maintain them, you have to test them, you have to deploy them. So there are a lot of things involved with developing an application the traditional way. However, in low code, all these aspects of application development, such as the back end and the front end, are taken care of by the platform itself. The Zoho Creator is a low code platform. So all you have to do is define the logic and the structural, the workflows of your application. Once that is defined, you can easily implement your logic on top of the platform, and you can develop applications rapidly. Okay. So the low code is the use of minimal coding to develop applications to solve your business objectives. Okay. So that is put it simply. Okay. So in that aspect, Zoho Creator and Zoho, we offer a separate scripting language. It is a scripting language, not a programming language. It is a scripting language called Deluge. Okay. So Deluge is an acronym. It stands for the Data Enriched Language for the Universal Grid Environment. Okay. So Deluge is a scripting language. It's not a programming language. It is a scripting language. Okay. In which you can execute scripts to implement custom logic in your application. Okay. So how is Deluge different from other languages? So it's like it's similar to text, English text. Okay, it's the syntax easy to read and learn. Okay. So how many of you know Python? Yeah. So all of us know Python, right? It's like the syntax of Python is similar to English, right? It's so similarly the syntax of Deluge is also similar to English. So it's similar to that. However, uh, in Deluge we have semicolons after each statement. Python it is white space after each text statement, right? So that is one of the differences between Deluge and Python, but it's similar to Python only. It is a scripting language, and it requires less lines of code. So what needs tens or hundreds of lines of code can be done using 2 or 3 lines of Deluge code. Okay, so Deluge is developed in such a way that to accomplish a complex action, it can be done simply and easily, faster and better than other scripting languages. So what's special about Deluge? It bridges the gap between data and business logic, and you can create complex workflows quickly on top of the Deluge scripting language. Okay, and the complexities like scalability, security, caching, etc., are all taken care of by the Deluge platform itself. So you need not worry about these aspects when scripting for your applications in Deluge on top of the Create Low Code platform. Okay, so these are some statistics for Deluge so far. So across the world, we have 1.1 billion plus number of Deluge statements written. There are nearly 200,000 number of Deluge developers across the world, and per day we have an average number of 11 million plus executions of Deluge code per day. So these are the statistics of Deluge from the global environment. So what exactly is Deluge used for? It's used for scripting to implement complex scripting in your applications. So we'll take a look at the basics of Deluge. So before that, we'll see in scripting languages or in programming, what is a variable? So a variable is used to store data. Okay, it is a container for data. So before doing that, uh, we'll open a new tab and search for Zoho Deluge tryout. deluge.zoho.com/tryout. Okay, open this. Yes. Anybody has any doubts? Yeah, it's not zooming in. It's not zooming in. It's very close. So all of you, please open this page in your browser. https deluge.zoho.com/learndeluge. Okay, and you can open with the tryout editor deluge.zoho.com. Yes, yeah, I'll repeat. Yes. Okay. Understand. So all of you, please open this page. Have you all opened this page? deluge.zoho.com/tryout. As you can see in this page, on the left hand side, you have a drag and drop way to develop Deluge scripts. Okay, set variable. You can just click on a drag and drop and you can fill in up the values here. Okay, so the syntax in Deluge is in the following way: variable name is equal to value, so that forms a Deluge statement. Okay, variable name is equal to value, and you terminate it with a semicolon at the end. Okay, so this is how you declare a variable in Deluge. Variable name or name followed by the value of the variable followed by a semicolon. Okay, so in this page deluge.zoho.com/triode, you can type it here. Okay, I'll be typing it in this page, but you can try it out in this Deluge triode page. Okay, do all of you follow this? Yeah, name is John. Then we just type. So when you want to print something to see it for yourself, to see it in the console, in Deluge we have this variable, we have this keyword called info. Okay, info name. Okay, so if you do this, and at the bottom, if you click on execute code, the output will be shown. Okay, so this is how you declare a variable in Deluge and how you print it to the screen. Come to the bottom, and click on execute script. So it say function executed successfully, followed by the value of the variable John. Okay, so we declared a variable called name, provided it a value, then we printed it out to the console using info keyword. So we have different types of data types in Deluge. So what variable did we just see now? What type of variable did we just see? Text variable. Okay. So we also have number variables. Okay. You can try it out. Assign a number to a variable. Click on info. Will print out that value. Okay. We have decimal. So number followed by the number check check. Okay. Yeah. So decimal value is declared like this: value equal to value followed by the info statement, info pi. So it will print out that value to the screen. Click on execute script. You will have it printed out. So we have date time value. So you can declare a date time variable like this. So there are also different forms of the date time variable. You can explore it and you can see. Yeah. So what variable is this? Boolean. Yes. So we have true and false values for the Boolean variable. Then we just saw the data types. Number can be a number, which represents a whole number. We have the Boolean variable, which can be true or false. We have the date time variable, and it can be in the following format. It can include the date time as well as the hour, minutes, and seconds. Then we have the decimal variable, and we have text. Finally, we have an advanced variable called the collection variable. We'll be seeing the collection variable later. Okay. So these are the symbols that are used. We have the semicolon that is used to terminate a statement. Brackets include the data and statement is equal to a comparison operator. Double quotes, single quotes for date time value. Double quotes to enclose string variables. And not equal to comparison operator. Assignment operator to provide a value to a variable. And we have curly braces. So these are all the symbols in Deluge. And we saw the info keyword, right? So info followed by whatever we want to print. It will print out the value to the console. So let us say, for example, you're working on a large script, several lines of script. You want to print out a particular value, see what the present value. There you will use info keyword. But this info keyword will not be visible on the front end. It will be only visible when you're scripting in the language. Okay. Info is like in JavaScript, you have console.log, right? Yes. And in Python, we have statement. Info is similar to that. In C, we have printf, right? Similar to uh, printf is info. Okay? And we have comment lines. So if you want to comment a single line, you type double slash. Okay. And if you want to add comments for multiple lines, you can add a slash followed by star, multi-line comment, and closing symbol, star followed by slash. This is for single line and multi-line comments. Then this is the assignment variable, equal to operator. These are the basic operators. So this is for triangle. I hope you are all on this page. So we saw the text variable. So it can include within a value within double quotes. It can be a single word, or it can be a sentence, or it can be a number within a quotes. So what will happen if we enclose a number within a double quotes? What will happen? Assigned value, it will be considered as a string. So can anyone define what a function is? Yes, function. Can anyone try to define a function? It's a block of code that performs a particular action when invoked. Okay. So while creating Deluge, we have created a lot of inbuilt functions which can be used readily without separate programming. Okay. So these are some of the common built-in functions. There are other functions also, but these are some of the most frequently used built-in functions for the text data type. Okay. They're concatenate, length, contains, and matches. Okay. We'll take a look at them. We'll take a look at the concat function. Okay. So what does the concat function do? It compares two variables. So this is how you invoke the concat function in Deluge. First name is John, second name is Smith. Info first name dot concat of second name. Okay, this is the syntax for concatenation. So I'll add some more data to it. Done. So now we use the length function. Okay. So this will print out the length in terms of number of characters of a string. Okay. So it has 4 characters. So the length is 4. So this is the inbuilt length function. So even if you are new to programming, by learning the basics of Deluge, you can get up to speed in scripting. Okay. We have the other contains function. So as you can see, when I type the IDE, the Deluge layout IDE provides suggestions. Okay. First, what to say, it provides the concat text function as a suggestion, and on the it also shows the how the syntax also on the right hand side contains, and this is the function name. At the end, you have text, right? So the text is the return type. Okay. So I'll explain what a return type is. Some functions have a return value. A function can return a number, it can return a string, or it can return a function itself. So here it returns a text value. Return is what you get after you invoke the function. Okay, understood? Return type. Return type and return value. Understood? And so contains of, I'll provide a string here. Click on execute script. True. Why is it true? Was that character. So if it is not that, what will come? False will come. Yes. And matches. Now here what output will be? Yes. Yes, it will be false because they do not contain the other string variable. So these are some of the frequently used inbuilt functions for the text data type. Anybody stuck anywhere? Next, we'll take a look at the number data type. So a number data type has the following characteristics. So it should be specified as purely numbers. If you enclose it within strings, double quotes, it will become a string variable. Okay. And if you provide decimal points, it will become a decimal value. So you need to provide a whole number. And similar to the string inbuilt functions, we have a list of number of number inbuilt functions. So this number will check whether a given value is a variable is a number or not. Okay. So it's not a number. So it returns the Boolean value false. So now what will we get? Yes, take a guess. What will we get? Okay, okay, we'll get true. And we have the absolute function. So the absolute function will take a decimal value and return the absolute value of that number without decimal value. Okay. So I say it's minus 3.14. The output will be 3.14. It just returns the magnitude of that number, not the sign. It eliminates the sign. Okay. Understood? So I provided pi is minus 3.14, but the absolute function takes a integer with a sign or without a sign and provides the just the value of the integer without the sign. That is 3.14. Okay. So random number will take two numbers, start range and end range, and will provide a random number within that range. Okay. So if you want to refer to the help documentation, you can refer this page zoho.com/deluge/help/functions. All of it will be listed here on the left side. This is the official documentation. So I'm just providing you a few functions, but see the list of functions available here. Cosine, tan h, log, tan max, percentile power. Okay. So this is the official documentation of Deluge. You can refer these if you want to learn about other capabilities of and other inbuilt functions of Deluge. So we'll take a look at the decimal data type now. It's a number followed by decimal points, floating point. The default scale is always 0 and it supports negative values also. So these are some of the inbuilt functions for the decimal data type: round, float, ceiling, and sign. So what I'm doing is the round will take an decimal value and will round it off to the number of digits you provided as the number. I want round it off to the nearest zero, nearest okay units digit. So 3.14 rounded off to the nearest zero is 3. Okay, if I provide 1, I provide 3.1. It rounded off to the nearest 10th decimal point. So we have another function called the floor function. The floor function takes a number and returns the number rounded down to the nearest integer less than or equal to the given number. Okay, that is the floor function. Okay, so the nearest integer less than or equal to 3.14 is what? 3. 3. Now what will this do? What will the output be? Ceiling function. Seal. Yes, it will be 4. And we have the date check. The date check. Oh, check. 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 Yeah. Okay. And datetime value. So datetime value should be enclosed within single quotes. So it can be just the date or it can have the time also. Okay, this is the syntax for the datetime value. These are some of the formats. And if you don't specify time, if you only specify the date value, the time will be taken as 0 hours. And you can calculate which is the most recent date, and the relational operators are supported between two variables of date time only. So today is set as 27 Feb. So it is a the system recognizes that it is a daytime value. Okay. So when I type info followed by today and click on dot, okay, it lists the types of different types of functions that are available for that value. Add business day, add business hour, add day, add hour, add minutes, add month, add seconds. Okay, add week, add year. So I'll add one business day to this date variable. Okay, I'll add one business or 7. Okay, you can also calculate the days between two data variables. Okay, so the days between inbuilt function calculates the number of dates between two different datetime variables. Today and 3rd March is 4th. So I'll show you one thing here. While declaring this variable, what is happening is if I provide a space here and then if I click on info here, it will say null. Can anyone say why it is null? This is a logic error. Can anyone say identify why this error occurs? Zoom in. Okay. Mm, mm. Okay. So this is a log. If we provide a space here, instead of okay. So we just saw the data variable. So these are all the different types of formats of the data variable available. So we just saw the syntax. This is the syntax for declaring a string variable. Variable name followed by assignment operator followed by value. Variable name, value, and this the whole thing forms a statement. Statements are terminated using semicolons. Number, text variable, number variable, decimal, date, and boolean. So the same value when defined using different characters becomes different types of variables. The first one enclosed within double quotes becomes a string. The second one is a number, and the third one is a decimal. So we can also perform the basic addition, subtraction, multiplication, division operations on the variables. So multiplication was found using the asterisk operator. Division is by the slash. So we'll take a look at this. Y is equal to 5. This is again. So okay. So this is how we perform mathematical operations. It's pretty straightforward, similar to other scripting languages. This is for your example. So if you divide uh, whole number by a decimal number, the output will be a decimal number. It will get converted to a decimal number. Okay. If any of the numbers in a mathematical operation is a decimal number, it will get converted to that type. So that is the default way of operations. So can anyone tell me another way to accomplish this? X plus y. Concat. Yes. Okay. Okay. And these are all the comparison relational operators: less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. And one interesting thing is for equal to, you can compare two strings with each other. Okay, and not equal to also, you can compare two strings with each other. Okay. Okay, they don't equal each other, so the output will be false. So what will the result of these operations be? X less than z is equal to true or false. Boolean values will be returned. The final one, x equals y, true. It will get converted to the decimal operator, then both are equal, it will be true. Okay. So this is how you compare two strings. We also have the logical operators. Double R is logical OR. Logical OR is if either one of the results or both the results are true, the output will be true. Logical AND is both should be true, it will be true. Or if either anyone is false, output is false. And if both are false, output will be false. And final is not negation operator. True will become false and false will become true. So x greater than y and z greater than y, is x greater than y true? No. Z greater than y true. So false and true, false. Next is x greater than y or y greater than x. So now here what will happen is the brackets expression will be evaluated first. Okay. So x star text will get evaluated first. 9.0 will be there. Okay. So x less than y is true and z greater than 9 is true. So the output will be true. So we also have some types of variables called the system variables. Okay. Zoho dot current date will return today's date. Okay, I'll show you how to use this. Info Zoho dot current date. Info Zoho dot current time. Okay, I'll write the text variable here. Today's date is the time now is. So next we'll take a look at if else loops. Okay. So we have that conditional operators, right? X, y, x equal to y, x greater than y, like that. So those can be used in the inside the loops. Okay. A conditional statement is if a conditional statement is true, do these statements, following statements. If it is false, do not do these things. So that is the if else statement. This is a sample statement. So are all of you familiar with this if else loop, right? So this is how you declare it in deluge. So I'll define a value greater than or equal to 95. So what will get towards value be? So what happens is for those who are new to conditional looping, so it will check this condition. If my score is greater than or equal to 95, yes, what is my score? It's 98. So it's true. So get reward will be true, and it will come out of the loop, come to the next statement, info statement. Okay. So this is how if else loops are declared in deluge. So this is a nested if loop. So what if we want to test multiple conditions? So this is how we declare it. So what will the output be? True, true. Now why is this both true? The first statement is true. So get reward and get assign the value true. And the loop exits and the info statements are printed. So I'll change my score's value now. So what will the output be? True, false. And finally, if both should be false, what will happen? False, false. So check the first condition. You don't go into that loop. It will check the second condition, don't go into that loop. Then there is no other condition left. So it will go into the final else statement and the values will be assigned and the output will be printed. Okay. So this is the syntax for nested if else statement in deluge. So as a recap, these are all the things that we saw. In addition, we saw the relational operators, logical operators, and conditional if-else statement. Okay. So that concludes the basics of the deluge session. Do anyone of you have any doubts, or any of you stuck anywhere? Do you have any specific doubts? Okay. So we'll begin the next session in 2 minutes. Okay. So we'll take a look at advanced deluge concepts. We have this specific data type called collection. So how many of you are familiar with C? C. C, the C programming language. C, right? So yes. So what is the collection in C? Array. An array is a collection, right? So similarly, we have collection variables in Python also, right? We have tuples, uh, uh, yeah, tuples, sets, and yeah. So those are the collection variables in Python. Okay. Similarly, we have collection variables in Deluge also. So okay, it's a proper noun. It can be sent as tuples or tuples. So we have two collection variables in Deluge, which is called list data type and map data type. So the list is similar to an index value collection, okay, and map is a key value collection. So the list holds data in an ordered manner. The order is marked by the index. The index of the list, the first element in the list is always 0. And we have event editing names, event types, etc. For example, so we can store them in a list. a list of names, a list of event types. Okay. So this is for a list of even for fruits. Okay. The index starts from 0 and goes till n minus 1, where n is the total number of elements in the list. Okay. So it has the following characteristics. You can declare it this way. Event is a collection of list variables. So the type of events are trade shows, workshops, and road shows. So the index starts from 0. You can add, retrieve, modify, remove elements by an integer index. And it can also contain elements of different data types grouped together. Can be you can have names along with the numbers. You can have names along with the text or date also. They can all be grouped together. And they can be restricted to accept only values of a special data type using special qualifiers. So we'll try out list now. So this is how you declare a list in okay. Name of the list followed by collection followed by the values in the list and then info. Print out the elements of the list. Now there is another way of declaring a list. This is the syntax for it. ZOHO products. Let's say we have a list of ZOHO products. So do you see the syntax difference? This is also a list. You use curly braces and declare the values like this. So these are two different ways of declaring lists in Deluge. Okay. So we have inbuilt functions for lists also that contains of a value. Now what will the output be? Can anyone take a guess? False. Because that element is not on the list, so the output will be false. So the element is in the list, the output will be true. So next we'll take a look. Took a look at lists. Now we'll take a look at maps. So map, the difference between list and map is a key value data type. Okay. In map, we'll have a number of keys which have the values. Okay. And you can use the key to retrieve the value of that key from the map. Say for example, name of a city followed by its postal code. So that can be a map of cities with postal codes. We can have name of student ID numbers, student names followed by student ID numbers. So that can be a map variable. So this is how you declare a map the first way. Okay. So this is the first way of declaring a map in Deluge. Collection of key followed by value, key followed by value. So if we want to retrieve a particular value from the collection, you provide get of the key and you'll get the value as a result. Okay. Get of gender is male here. So the output male is printed here. The value of the key gender is male. So that is printed here. Now there is another way of declaring map. So similarly, how you declare a list using curly braces, you can declare a map also using curly braces. So if we want to add a particular value to a map, you use the put function. So this is the syntax for adding an element to the map. Use the put function key comma value name value key comma value, not key value. If you use colon here, it will throw a syntax error. You will have to type key comma value, key value. Okay, it has been added. So if we want to remove a key value from the map, you just type use the remove function dot remove of key name to get removed. Okay, the display slice gets removed. And if you want to check whether a particular key value is present in the map, you can type contain key. And that key is not there, so it will print the value false. Okay, so these are two different types of collection variables in Deluge. What are they? List and map. And we saw two different syntax for each variable. So how to declare them in Deluge? Okay, using the collection keyword as well as the curly braces syntax. So for debugging a script, let's say you're working on a script and you want to print out the particular value. So you'll write everything out. You can click on, you can type info, and if you type info, it will print the log message to the console. So info can be used for debugging when you're writing a large script. And we saw the built-in functions. We saw the concat function. We saw the list function such as uh, contains and add function. The inbuilt functions, the put, remove, get, contains, different list functions we saw, different map functions we saw like contain key. So those are all the inbuilt functions. The inbuilt functions are those that are already offered by the Deluge platform for you to perform operations on. So this is fine. We've seen the syntax of how to use the different types of variables, different types of values, and how to manipulate them, what are the inbuilt functions and all. But how can you use the data in your applications in your scripts? So that is where this thing called fetching comes from. Okay. So you have a data and a report. Okay. You want to use that data and a report in your script. So to access that, we have a specific syntax. We'll be taking a look at it now. Okay. So we'll come to the edit mode of the application. So take a look at the alumni profile report. Okay. So we have a lot of information. I want to use this information in my script. How will I bring this to my script? So that is how you'll use the fetch statement. There is a concept called fetching. Okay. So this fetching will be performed on the alumni profile report, and I'll show you how to do that. So come to the edit mode, come to workflows, click on workflows, navigate to functions, and click on new function or create function. You can provide a function name. I'll provide a static fetch. Select the language as deluge. Or all of you following, come to the edit mode, and I can tell you. Come to the edit mode, and at the top, click on workflow. Okay. Once there, click on functions. Okay. Next, click on create function or new function. Both will do. So provide a function name, static fetch. Select the language and name it as Deluge. You can see here it will list multiple languages like Node.js and Java. Does this show Node.js and Java for you? Yes. Does this show Node.js Java for you? No, no, right? But someone who has a 365 days account, who has a 365 days account? Okay. Okay. So click on Deluge as the node language. Select the namespace as default. Return type is void. So can anyone try to explain what return type is? No, void is the return type. So what is the return type? Yeah, it's what the function returns to you. You call the function, it will perform some action. Finally, what result does it give you? So that is the return type. So here void is the return type. Return type can also be integer, float, string, boolean, date, map, list, or collection. Okay. Specify arguments, no arguments. I'm not going to give any arguments for this function. What is an argument in a function? Yeah, passing values to the function. So that is the argument. Okay. Click on create function. Okay, it's created. So here we'll provide the variable name. Alumni details is the variable name. So this is the syntax. Alumni profile of, when you start typing, it shows you alumni profile form. Okay. So what it means is you are fetching the data from the alumni profile form. Okay. Alumni profile of where email ID equal to particular email. Now I'll come to the report. So let's say I want to fetch this value zmartin at kent.com. Okay, I want to fetch this row of values from the alumni report, alumni profile report. Okay, so I'll copy this email ID. I paste it here. So what I'm doing is from the alumni profile report. Okay, so this is the name of the collection variable. Whatever data I'm going to get from the report, I'm going to store it in this collection variable called alumni details. Okay, so in this alumni details is from the alumni profile report, fetch me the record where the email is zmartin@kent.com. Is it clear? So what I'm doing is from the alumni profile report, fetch me the record where the email is zmartin@kent.com. Now, do you understand what I'm doing? Anybody has a doubt in this, understanding this? Now, what is alumni profile? Form, right? Report. It's considered as report. It's not a from the alumni profile report or form. What is email? Email of the record which we want to retrieve. Okay. What is alumni details? It is the collection variable. It can be any name. You can give it as alumni details. You can give it as alumni. You can give it as details. It can be any name. Okay. I can change it. Okay. So I can type info alumni details dot name. Info alumni details collection. So it says it's a collection, right? Why is it a collection? Yes. Okay. So the email ID is zmartin@kent.com. zmartin@kent.com. Is it okay the last? So what I'm doing is I want to fetch this row of data from the alumni profile report. Okay. So why is it a collection? Can anyone say? It says collection, right? Alumni details is the variable you can. Why is it a collection? Because it contains different values, right? It contains alumni ID, it contains name, it contains last name, it contains an email, it contains a phone number. Okay, so that is why it is a collection. Yeah, 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 yeah. And so that is why it is a collection. Okay, do you understand? You have to understand this, only then you'll be able to do the form workflows task that is going to come. So if you have any doubt, please ask. We'll be able to explain it to you. I will tell you. Dynamic pitching, I'll explain it. Well, dynamic pitching. Yeah. Okay. So once I have a collection, I can use the dot operator to retrieve different specific records from that collection. So what does this do? From alumni details collection, which we have declared here, it prints the name. From alumni details of Z Martin row, it prints the phone number. Okay. From alumni details of Z Martin current employer, it prints the current employer. Okay. Now do you understand what we're doing? Can anyone come and explain this to me now? Can I to explain to everyone? Can I have a volunteer, please? You can explain it in however way like. No need to explain it in English. You can explain it in Telugu. Please, someone come and explain it. Yeah. I need a volunteer. Otherwise, I'm not going to proceed. Come on, anyone come. Guys, come on. Anyone come. Please come. Just come and explain this. Can you come, please? Yeah. Please come and explain. You can use my monitor to demonstrate it to them. Yeah. No, you can use the mic. Otherwise, it won't be audible. So here is the script. Here is the report. So I can explain. This is the script. Ah, you can explain in Telugu. This is the script. Okay. Script is here. Report is here. No, explain in Telugu. Explain in Telugu. Thank you. Thank you very much. Claps, please. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So now I come to the bottom, and here I click on save. Okay. And finally, to run the function, you click on execute. Okay. So what does it say? It prints out the name, the phone number, and the current employer. Now what I'll do is I'll put another email here. Now I'm going to put this email here. Okay. danderson@yahoo.com. If you can copy the edit, it's okay. Otherwise, you just type it. Now, what will be printed for alumni name? What will be printed for alumni name? Yes. What will be printed for alumni name now? No, no, no. Here, I'm giving the email as danderson@yahoo.com. Okay. Now, what is the alumni name? Yeah, so that will be printed. Okay. So this is called static fetching. Okay. Why is this static fetching? Because and the current employer is will get printed. Microsoft. So this is called static fetching because we are printing, we are retrieving using a specific email. We are providing it the value that needs to be fetched. Boys, have you understood all of you? Do any of you have a doubt? So next we'll create a new function. Come to the edit mode or in edit mode. So are you in edit mode? Create a new function. Okay. And name the function as dynamic iterate. Yeah. So this is what we just saw, right? Variable name is equal to form name field operator expression. So this is the syntax she just explained. Okay. Okay. So now yesterday Akhilesh explained particular concept called a record ID. Do you remember it? Record ID. Okay, we'll be taking a look at that concept now. Okay. So what happens if two people have the same name, same date of birth, same degree? Yeah, like that. So you need to differentiate them, right? So that is where the concept of ID comes. Okay. So here, these two records are identical. Same alumni name, same ID. We'll change the ID. And same name. Okay. Email ID can be different. So we have the same name, but different email ID and different ID, but for same contact, same company, same designation, everything. Okay. So how will you differentiate between these two I records? So that is what we're going to do. Say for example, in your company there are two people, there are two Harry Potter with the same birthday. So how will you differentiate between them? So that is where this concept called ID comes into play. Just a second, they have a doubt. We'll proceed further. Yeah, I'll show you the function. You can all wait. So I'll show it again. First, I'll explain the concept, then I'll show it to you. Okay. So yesterday we saw a way. So what is this? This alumni profile report, right? This is a report. I want to show another field in this report. Okay. Yesterday I told you how to do it. Can anyone come and demonstrate it now? Report. To show a field in a report. Can anyone come from the boys side? Anyone? So yesterday we saw in the build mode, the edit mode, we saw one way, right, to add configure fields for web. Do you remember it now? So there I need to add an element to a report. Can anyone come and do that now? Yeah. So just tell it to them. I display the ID field. Okay. So export the ID field. Yes. 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 That's all. Yes. So you just export.
From live mode to go to this application, and next go to the alumni profile report, configure the fields of for web, and then add fields and search what we want and add the field.
So now, so even if they have the same name, same company, same degree, the ID is different, right? So this is how you can differentiate two people with the same details. Okay, for each record, the ID is unique. That is what he told yesterday. The record ID for you can see this ID field right at the end. I'll just zoom in. Okay, this ID field is unique for all records, and all records have an ID field also. No record is without an ID field. Okay, now we're going to apply this concept. So name the so come to the edit mode, create a new function. Okay, name the function as dynamic iterate. Namespace is default. Okay, click on create function. Are you all on the screen? Now we'll look at it. I have a value name fetch records equal to from the alumni profile form ID not equal to null. So now what will happen here? Can anyone tell? Can anyone take a guess? Analyze it logically and tell me what's going to happen. I am fetching something from the alumni profile report. What am I fetching? So what will happen? Correct. Who said that? You said. Okay. All records will be fetched because all records have ID. Can you please stand up and explain it to them? Okay, nice. So all records. So now I'll get all records. So now I'll type this here. Okay. Let's see what happens. Info fetch record, info that variable. Save and execute. Okay. All the profiles are being fetched. Okay. Because all IDs are stored here. Now what I'll do is this info is there. So we are fetching all records from the report. Use ID not equal to null. You fetch all records from the report. So now what I'll do is there is another syntax called the for each loop. Okay. So this fetch records is a collection of different alumni records. So you can loop over each alumni record, right? Okay, you see the report here. I want to loop over each record. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Each record I want to loop over. So for each record, do this action. I can do that. So that is the for each loop. Okay. So this is the syntax. For each record in fetch records collection, info record dot name, info record dot current employee. Yeah, yeah, it's fine. Just format. 1 minute. Complete the text. Yeah, please wait. Okay. Just formatted it. Okay. So this is how you type the script. Can you all type the script? Visible at the back, visible, not visible. Huh? This is the maximum zoom. Can you please come to the front? It's not visible. So student like you only. Yeah. Yes, done. Boys done. So are you all getting the output? So it loops over each record in that report. Okay. So this is the dynamic fetching. Why is this dynamic fetching? So if first fetching was static fetching, okay, because we provided one email ID and it fetched. So it is we are feeding the data. So it is static fetching. Here we are fetching all IDs and then you're looping over it. We are fetching all IDs, right? So that's why it is dynamic fetching. We're not giving a specific value. And we also have the for each syntax. Okay. So this is the concept of deluge. You can write advanced scripts in deluge if you understand these concepts well. You can just go back and take a look at these concepts later. Okay. You can write your own scripts to try to understand it better. So that's deluge, guys. So that's the low code aspect, the basics of the fundamentals of deluge in Zoho Create. Okay. Any of you have any questions or doubts? Okay. Go start with the next session in a few minutes. 2 to 5 minutes. Yeah.
Hello. Hi. Okay. So, any questions with respect to deluge? Because we need deluge in the subsequent topics that we touch upon. Any questions? Any doubts? Uh, so, did all of you see why it is called a low-code language? There are a couple of things. So, one, we did most of the typing. I'll just, you don't have to do this. So, when you uh, say fetch statement, where is the fetch statement? Yeah. So when you drag and drop, so dragging and dropping is one part of the low code aspect. The other is something called guided scripting, which is when I type fetch records. So I just typed FET. The system suggests the next portion. So this is called guided scripting. So it makes your life a little easier. So beyond this, there are other functions which make it easier. So when I do this, a left hand side opens up. So instead of typing it in the console, you can actually type it in this box. You don't have to follow any format. You can just select the form. All these things here you can see advanced edit. If you click on this, all your fields and the different functions are already here. So you can just click and complete your statement. And once the statement is ready, on the top right also there is something called refer fields. So keep this in mind because give me a second. Yeah, every field used in our app will be referenced here. You can see all the fields here. The problem is if you've used any name for a field that's different from what I've used. Say if it's alumni ID with a D small and I've used with D capital, and if you copy paste the code, it'll throw up an error. So to always cross check what is the name of the field that you've used, always refer to this right hand side called uh, refer fields. So it'll give you a glimpse of what fields you've used inside your application, which is very important because once we get into the workflow part, the data points have to be exactly the same, the case sensitive approach. Uh, and one more thing, there is ZIA here also. So if at some point later on we'll do it the hard way, but when you go back home, if you want to prompt a workflow, so whatever we are doing here, if you just want to type in, say, I want a email workflow. I want to automate using an email workflow. And this is the content. You can just type it here. I'll just show you a bit. You don't have to do this. On the right side, so whenever you see Zia, it's the AI side. Uh, Notification workflow says form submit. So the this code is also you can just drag and drop the code. So Deluge in Zia in Deluge is not only for code generation, it's also for code optimization. So suppose you have written your own code. If you have like 20, 30 lines of code, you can copy paste the code into this console. And tell Zia, I want to optimize my code. So the code optimize and whatever code that gets generated, it comes with comments. It comes with explanation. So it's an easier way to do. We're just doing the hard way so that you're accustomed to how the platform works. Uh, So now we'll get into form workflows. So form workflow is the fourth basic component in Creator. What are the other three? Forms is one, reports, pages. So correct. So forms, reports, and pages are something you see on the front end of your application. You can see your forms, you can see your reports, you can see your pages. But how do you see automation happening in these elements? That is through workflows. So in Creator, there are couple of types of workflows. So when I type create a workflow. So it asks me, when do you want to run your action? So there are not only for forms, so there are report workflows, there are form workflows, there are payment workflows. So when you're collecting payment through your form, you can configure a payment workflow and it has to be connected to a payment gateway. It can be Zoho's payments, so or PayPal or Stripe or Paytm or whichever one you want. So there are multiple types of workflows that are available. So now we'll concentrate on form workflows. So in form workflows, when do you want to run the event? So it can be on a form event, which means submission of a form, deletion of a form. So suppose you have 48 entries for a class. Say one student has to leave the organization or the university, it becomes 47. So when I delete that record out of the system, that total number should change to 47. So it can be a form event on a scheduled date. Suppose there is a project submission for you next Monday, and one day before or 2 days before or every 24 hours you want to send an email to the students. That is a scheduled date. On a function call is whenever the function gets triggered, this workflow has to happen. Similarly, approval activity. So approval workflow is a type of workflow. uh, so in this particular use case that we're doing, when you are doing using a single application and a single user, because you are the only user in your application, approval workflow may not make sense in a singular instance. But imagine, suppose you submit a bill for something that you say you bought a pen for your college and you want to claim the reimbursement. If you add that to the college webs application, somebody has to approve. It might be your tutor. If your tutor approves it, if your teacher approves it, it has to go to the finance department. That department has to approve, and then so all these are tiers of approval, and you can set all these in the workflow section of creator. So when a submitter, and this all these translates to the user section of our which you saw in the first session. Who uses what modules, how they use it, all of these can be configured. There is something called role hierarchy, which means I am the student, then there is a teacher. So approval flow goes from student to teacher, teacher to admin, admin to principal. So it can go that way. So all these are related to the user part of the platform. Then payment activity, and finally on a business process. So we will not be getting into the details of business process, but this is something called blueprint. So when you go back home, just play around with blueprint. It's a visual way to automate processes. So here, uh, we'll do it together. I'm just showing you. So when I click on a form event, these are form workflows. The first step is to select which form. Obviously, that's the first thing to do. Then there is an option called record event. When do you want the workflow to start? It can be when a record is created. It can be when a record is edited. So suppose if you're somebody's editing, you want a notification for that, or any workflow when somebody's editing. Compared to other situations, edited is slightly lesser used than created. But usually, what users do, what we have come across, they use created or edited because on the workflow happens. And finally, deleted. Like I said, when a record is deleted, there is a set of workflows. This is like, when does it happen? When the form is created. One second. When the form is created, edited. So does it happen before form submission, or does it happen on form submission? So these are called validation. For example, uh, I input an email, I input a date of birth, and there is, say, only people above the age of 40 can apply for this. And I put a date, an age that is less than that. That's a validation problem. Similarly, after form submission. So majority of our use cases would be after form submission. Similarly, before form submission is also important with respect to user input and load of the form. So when you load the form, say your college ID. So when particular student enters the app, your college ID gets populated in in a field, and that cannot be changed. You cannot change your ID card number. It's fixed as long as you're part of the college. So those things when the form loads itself, it's automated. Similarly, input of a field. So when you put your name, other sections of your biodata gets populated in your form. So these kind of automations happen before form submission. While submitting the form, it has to be there. Then there is validation, which is on form submission, and finally after form submission. So when I add a record, what happens? So if I'm adding a record for a payment claim, after submitting the form only, it can go to the different stakeholders. So that is after form submission. So these are the different. So this is the uh, work uh, form workflow. Basically, when do you want the record to run, and when do you want the workflow to start? These are the two elements. Form workflow is part of the other workflows. Like there are not part, it's a type of workflow. We have form workflows, report workflows, approval workflows, payment workflows, BPM, which is your blueprints. So these are the different types of workflows in Create. Any question? Otherwise, we'll just get started with the workflow. So you've built your forms, you've seen the reports, you learned Deluge. Now we'll see how automation works. These are simple automations, but then you will get to see it in your application, right? Please keep your booklet ready. Page number, we'll start with 38. Page 38 should have it. Form workflow on a form event. So whatever I'm saying, everything is in a crisp form. It's there in your booklet. And today we'll not be covering the entire booklet, but there are topics that we may not be able to cover today. But please do go home. That has a very concise set of content. Uh, okay, we'll go with the first workflow. So before we get into which form, there is an explanation on what we are trying to do. So here it's written in the order form. The order date field should automatically displace the current date, which means when somebody is trying to place an order, the person can actually enter the date. But there are two things. Do you want the person to enter the date? Because the date he can enter it wrong if it's manual. Two, it's an added time. It might take just 10 seconds, but why make the person go through it? So we're gonna add the date, auto populate the date when the form is loaded. So how do we do? You can go to your app, go to the edit mode of the application. So please go to the edit mode. Ideally, if you can, just have two tabs, one for live mode, one for edit mode. So any editing you can do here. Once the changes are done, you can just reload the live mode and see the changes. So it's you don't have to keep clicking and switching between two sides. So here's the live mode. Here is the edit. Now we'll start with the edit mode. Is everyone on the edit mode? Yeah. Please go to the edit mode. Edit mode is when you can see access the application and all on the right side. See something like this. At the top, you can see workflow and settings. Click on workflow. Is everyone here? Yeah. Create the workflow. I'll go as per the booklet. So the first, choose the form. The form is order form. Select the order form. Run when a record is created or edited. So the date should be auto populated when somebody opens the form. So what option should I give here? Anyone wants to take a guess? Sorry, load of the form. Correct. So select load of the form and name the workflow auto populate and disable fields. So order form is the form it created or edited when to trigger the workflow's load of the form, and name the workflow, auto-populate, and disable fields. We are disabling a couple of fields which the user should not be able to change. For example, you have a stock of a t-shirt. Imagine you have a t-shirt worth 500 rupees. But while placing the order, if the customer can change it to 100 rupees, then it's a gap in the system, right? So make it auto-populate and disable fields and create the workflow. Order form, created or edited, load of the form, auto-populate and disable fields is the name. So once you press create, you'll see this. So in workflows, you add actions. You can add multiple actions for the same statement. Here we just need one. But when you add an action, click on add an action, it directly opens the deluge editor. So how do we start? How do we auto populate the date using deluge? Input dot. So when just type input, press dot. Please listen because do not copy paste. Always use your variables in your application. So type input and press full stop dot. So you will see the fields in your application. The order date is the one in my application. So press the date field in your app. If you have given the same name, please choose that. But if you have given it, say, with a small d or a small e or whichever, uh, please select accordingly. Input dot order date equal to, we have current date as a system variable. So for system variables, just enter ZOHO dot current date. Make sure there is a semicolon. Now we'll disable couple of fields. So when you just type disable, press the enter and all your fields will be. So what all fields do we need to disable? Disable order date because it's the current date and we don't want anyone to change it. Second is in the sub form. So in your application, in your order form, there is a sub form called order items. Is everyone here? Anyone wants any time? So you don't have to do this, but order items is the name of the subform. Please make sure you know the name of the subform uh, in your application because here when you type disable, you can see the subform. So here you can see the name of the subform. So inside the subform, price per quantity, all those fields have to be disabled. So press on order items, the subform name, and put dot operator. So here select price per unit. Similarly, again subform and total price. Disable the subform. Do not disable the subform fully. Subform dot. So what happens is we have selected the subform, but we need the dot operator to point it to the particular field inside the subform. So we have disabled the another is the total payable. Because all these prices are fixed, there is no need for the user to edit it. And finally, there is something called order status, which can be hidden because this is for the backend people who are working on the app to understand what the status of the order is. So we don't want the user to see. So up until now, you were the developer of the application, but right now we are getting into a place wherein we have a user of the application. You have to see it from their perspective. So we have disabled 4 fields: uh, order date, price per unit, and total price inside the subform, total payable, and finally hide the order status. Please use the dot operator and the guided scripting to make sure the same uh, variable names are the same as in your application. So just the actual form. See if there's a date field. Shouldn't be. Turn the screen shut down. Lock. Uh, did everyone do this? Yeah. Uh, press save the script. Press save. Bottom right. Once saved, you can close the window. So you will see execute without condition. Press done. You will be in this window. Save it at the bottom. Then close it. Close this port console. Then press done at the top right. Now go to your live mode. Please access the application. Did you see order date getting filled automatically in your order form? Go to your order form in live mode. You can see order date auto populated. And inside the your status is hidden inside your subform after item name and quantity. The price per unit, total price, and these are unclickable. All these fields are disabled, like we uh, set the workflow for. Is this? Did you all get it? Yeah, perfect. So we'll go to the second workflow. Please be on this screen. So this is where we create the workflow, because one common mistake we always see is if you're inside this screen, press done. Get out of the screen, because when you keep adding new actions in the same workflow, it can lead. So get out with by pressing done. Be on this screen. This is where we'll create the second workflow. Again, this new workflow. The second workflow. On what form it is? Which form? Not merchandise. order form. Second workflow is also order form. So what we're doing is from alumni profile, we are getting the details of the alumni. So again here form is order form, created or edited is the same. When to trigger the workflow, here it's not load of the form. So when somebody inputs a value, then only we can fetch the alumni details. So it's user input of a field and it's alumni ID. So when somebody chooses the field alumni ID, inputs data into the alumni field, ID field, then this workflow will run. So only when somebody selects a name from the alumni list, then only we can auto populate. Without getting my name, person cannot get my email ID. So select order form, creator or edited, user input of a field, which field, alumni ID, and now you can name it auto populate alumni details. Any doubts? Any questions? Is this clear? Now in this workflow, we'll have to use fetch that Prasanna touched upon. So this is where all the deluge scripting you learned in the previous session will come in handy. Create the workflow. Again, same routine. Add new action. Your deluge editor will be here. Yep. So first we have to fetch your alumni details. So first fetch statement, I use FET. FET is the variable. It can be anything. It can be ALM, ADB, whatever. Ideally, it should be something you can identify. FET stands for fetch. So FET equal to what is the form name? So form name is alumni profile form. So what are we fetching from the alumni profile name? What are we fetching from the alumni? ID, because we need all the details of the particular person and then only we can take a particular set of details. So ID equal to, how do I map it to the current, this ID equal to current, the alumni ID that we are inputting. So oh, input dot, put the dot and select from the drop down so that you don't go wrong. Alumni ID is big int because alumni ID is, it's a lookup field. Input dot alumni ID, because since it's a lookup field, ID can match with ID. But if you say if you're going to put name equal to alumni ID, you'll get an error saying name is just getting mapped with a string or a character, which is the matching error. So we are fetching from alumni profile, and the ID is whatever the input of the alumni ID field is. Now we auto populate the details. Input dot name equal to FET dot whatever that got fetched, FET dot name. No, sorry. FET dot, I have put name here. Have you put name or alumni name? What is the name in your, there is one easy way to cross check. You can go to your alumni profile name, alumni profile form. So see, I have put it as name. It should have been alumni name. It's a miss from my end. but just make sure the same name is used. The field link name. In case you have any doubt, go to the editor, alumni profile form, name. I've used the same name. Field link name is name, which is this is how you cross check. The second auto population statement, input dot email equal to fet dot email. And finally, input dot phone number equal to fet dot phone number. Just always use the dot operator and select the name that you have given. Please don't directly copy paste because you might have given a different name. Just use the dot operator and select from the drop down. Just keep scrolling. At the bottom, you can see your whatever you have given. Yeah. Is this done? If you're done, you can press save. Perfect. Save. Then you can close and press done there. To check, you have to go to the access application, live mode, go to order form. So when I press alumni ID, Joy's email and phone number gets auto populated. If I select 1002, Kimberly gets auto populated. Are you getting this? Anyone who's not getting, please raise your hand. This might throw errors. We'll come to you. Anyone not getting the output? Everyone is getting?
Error is not coming because
Uh, one second, I know. No, no. So a few of you are getting string value cannot be assigned to name. This is because you have used a name field instead of a single line field. So what is happening is a single name is being mapped to a first name and second name, which is the problem. So if you're facing that problem, go to that. You have input dot name equal to fet dot name. So if you're having the errors, input dot name, put a dot and put the first name. This would solve the issue. So some of you have used name field instead of single line field, which is why that error is coming. So in my application, um, name field is a single line field. For many of you, you have used a name field which has a first name and a second name. So you have to specify where you are mapping. One name cannot be mapped to first name and second name, which is why you have to use the input dot name dot first name. Okay, we'll do the third workflow. Once you're done, press done. So you have two workflows here. Are you all on the screen? Third workflow is again a user input of item. So which form? Order form again. Created or edit again. It's user input of a field. Now the system will ask which field. It's the item. Item name. Yep. Item name, and we will fetch the price. So order form, created or edited, user input of field, which field, item name. So this is basically the name of the first field in your subform, item name. Clear? Yeah. We'll create the workflow. Same process, add new action. So now uh, something that you have to understand is when you are having a workflow for a subform event, the system is assuming you are activating the subform. So without, so this form does not have a subform data. If I press add new, this is assuming that I am opening the subform, which is why in your deluge script, in the deluge script that we are going to type in, we'll see row dot. So if a subform does not have a row, then that script doesn't work, which is why it's very important to understand how the process works in the backend. So we need to fetch the price of the item. So FET, which form are we fetching the price from? No, merchandise form. We need to get the details of the order. Order form is the form in which the workflow is happening, but for getting the details, we have to depend on the merchandise form. So what is ID equal to here? What is ID equal to? Row dot item name. Uh, you don't have to do go to the app, but just look the screen once. So what is happening here is when first item name in the subform is selected, we want the price per unit to populate. logically the next step in the next workflow, when quantity is updated, we would update the total price and the total payable. This is the next workflow, but for now, when you use this statement, we fetch the item name from the merchandise form. Now we have to map it to the application. So row dot, because it's inside a subform, we use row dot price per unit equal to FET dot price per unit. Ideally, it will be the same. Yep. Anyone getting errors or anything? Please raise your hand. We'll come and fix it for you if needed. Just raise your hand, please. No? If you're done, you can save and close the editor and go to your app. So just give it a reload. So when you want to see the live application, you can always give it a reload so that this code is applicable, the workflow is applicable there. So here, when I select an item, cap, the price per unit is updated on the price per unit field. And it's disabled, so I can't edit it. This is fixed. Is everyone getting this? Yeah? Any doubts? Please raise your hands. No? Okay. Okay. Go to the next workflow. This is easy, right? Any doubts, any questions? Anyone not getting? Prasanna. Any questions? Any doubts? So we will do one or two more workflows before going to the next topic, but then we'll resume after lunch. Please be back by 1:30. Uh, we'll start at sharp 1:30. Yeah.